So did you know that Mormon, the editor of the Book of Mormon, the gatherer putting it all together, made 14 mistakes in the Book of Alma? How is that possible? What does that look like? And the fact that he made those mistakes and captured as they are in Alma, it actually bears to the process of the translation between Joseph and Oliver. I think you'll find this very interesting. So think of Mormon. At a young age, he's called to be the leader of the Nephite armies. Large young man, must have been capable. He has the responsibility of the war between the Nephites and Lamanites. And sadly, they're losing. They fight every day. He comes home, or camp. I'm not sure where he goes to when he's done fighting. He's tired, but he has a heavy responsibility on him. He has to finish the editing and the gathering of the plates of the Book of Mormon. So he does that at night. I can picture him. Oh, I have to keep going. He gets tired. He falters from time to time. And in the Book of Alma, there are 14 times where Mormon faltered. He made a mistake writing on the golden plates. I'm going to read a few of those to you and tell you how I think they bear to the translation process between Joseph and Oliver. Okay, so mistakes. What does a mistake look like? So I'm going to give you one example to start with so you kind of get a hang of it, and then we'll kind of go from there. Now, let me get my glasses. So this first one, not all in Alma. This verse is Alma 43:38. And I'm just going to read, and I'll stop a couple times through it. While on the other hand, there was now and then a man fell among the Nephites. So this is the war chapters. Fighting's going on. By their swords and by loss of blood. They being shielded from the more vital parts of the body. That isn't what Mormon meant to say. Let me just read that again. So people are falling because they're using their swords, they're bleeding. They being shielded from the more vital parts of the body. The transition for Mormon was rats, that's wrong, so he puts an or in there. Or the more vital parts of the body being shielded from the strokes of the Lamanites. That's what he meant to say. Now, you can go, oh, Edwin, you're grabbing for things. There's 14 of them. All of them the same or transition. They say something, isn't what he really wanted to say. So he transitions with the or, and then goes on to get to where he wants to be. And I'll give you this example and a couple more just to give you the idea of it. And then I'll talk about what I see in the translation. Okay, so that was Alma 43:38. Interesting proposition. Now we go to Alma 26:28. We traveled from house to house, relying on the mercies of the world. He didn't mean to say on the mercies of the world. Or, not upon the mercies of the world alone, but upon the mercies of God. That's what he wanted to get to. My supposition is that Mormon just made a mistake, and on one of the plates, you can't just scratch it out. He had to keep going and figure out a way to say what he wanted to say. Again, you can like that or not. I don't mind. I enjoy him a lot. The last one I'm going to share with you comes from Alma 24:19. And thus we see that they buried their weapons of peace. That doesn't make any sense. He didn't mean to say that. He made a mistake. Let me just, before I read the punchline here, let me just curve to a little bit to that. You may recall I've actually copied the Book of Mormon by hand, all 538 pages. Took me a year and 10 months, 1,300 pages of my own. It was a wonderful experience, but it was interesting. I'm looking right at the Book of Mormon. I look here, and I go in and write. So many times I leave out a word. I leave out a sentence. I'd write it wrong and have to correct it. And I have it right in front of me. Mormon didn't have that capacity. And so he made mistakes. So let's go on. Let's read the end of this one. So I'll start again. And thus we see that they were buried their weapons of peace. Or they buried their weapons of war for peace. That's what he meant to say. Now think about Joseph. There's a lot of theories about what the translation looks like, and I'm not going to say I know. It's just interesting to me to look at it. So if Joseph is looking at the plates through the Urim and Thummim, if he's looking at the Urim and Thummim in his hat, looking at the stone in his hat, he looks, one of the theories which I would subscribe by is he sees letters in English. He reads the letters in English as they are. Oliver writes them down as he's given them. That's how the mistakes happen. So the mistakes could have been cleared up, don't need that, but for whatever reason, what he saw and what was written are 14 mistakes in the Book of Alma. My contention, I don't have to win, but my contention is Mormon was tired and made mistakes and were captured in live form by Joseph to Oliver in 1830 when the Book of Mormon was published. So consider that as you will. There are many more to come. I hope to see you on down the road. Thank you so much.